Joining us now, Vivek Arya, BofA Securities Senior Semiconductor Analyst. And Vivek, it's great to have you here. It feels as if the enthusiasm behind the Nvidia story, the multi-years of demand exceeding supply, were confirmed for the most part. What are the headlines from the report from your perspective?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me. I think there is a global race that is going on between cloud service providers, between consumer internet companies, between on-premise enterprise, between the thousands of venture-backed startups to take the best advantage of this wonderful and amazing new technology called generative AI or large language models. And NVIDIA is best positioned to deliver a turnkey solution to every one of these constituencies who wants to take advantage of this technology, either to lower their cost or to improve their revenue profile. So what did we learn last night? I think three important things. First, demand is broadening. It's not just the cloud service providers. They went to only mid-40s% of sales versus mid-50s the last quarter. So demand is broadening to automotive companies, to enterprises, to consumer internet companies. Second thing we learned is that demand still exceeds supply. And I think this was a concern, Mike, going into the call, because the company is in front of this major product transition to something called Blackwell. So there was this fear that there would be this air gap. But what we are learning is that just because of the breadth of product and the breadth of customers, that they're able to go through this transition very smoothly. And the third and very important thing, which I think sometimes gets understated, is that the top line is not only growing over 200% a year. Every dollar of sales is being converted to over 50 cents of free cash flow. Which mega cap company in technology or the market is able to do that while trading at only 1.5 to 1.6 times the multiple of the S&P 500? So I think it's checking every box of growth, execution and cash flow generation. And the stock is still only about 30 times next year multiple for what is basically a market-weighted stock among most of the institutional shareholders.
Nvidia recently received incredible news from Elon Musk as the Tesla CEO announced plans to build a massive facility for training advanced AI systems by the fall of 2025. The proposed gigafactory of compute would contain 100,000 Nvidia H100 GPUs and would be one of the largest concentrations of computing power dedicated to AI research in the world. This is great news for Nvidia and Nvidia stock investors because Musk choosing Nvidia chips for an extremely large supercomputer project is proof that Nvidia remains the whale in the chip industry, and this large order of chips will definitely reflect on Nvidia's revenue. In today's video, we'll talk about how this may affect Nvidia stock and why Nvidia chips are the main go-to when it comes to great projects. But before we do that, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
Well, Nvidia was the belle of the ball. There's a look at the rally over the last 5 years. Just a casual 3,000% gain. Today's gain was yet another record high, and it's hard to quibble with the quarter that they delivered, beating sales expectations. By the way, that means they grew sales 245%. They said that sales are going to double the next quarter. They increased their dividend by 150%. To make the stock more accessible to everyday investors, they're doing a 10-for-1 stock split in the coming weeks. Our next guest sees more upside from here. Stacey Rascon is the managing director and senior analyst of U.S. Semiconductors at Bernstein. Your price target is $1,300, which implies a 30% gain. And I don't know, on a stock that's already doubled, that feels like a pedestrian move, right, for Nvidia.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I was on the phone talking to a lot of clients today, and somebody said, well, wait a minute, that would mean that it would become the most valuable company in the world. And maybe, yeah. Like, oh, okay, that doesn't seem like that much of a stretch at this point, right?
No, I think if you kept it at 1,300 after the stock split, then we could really talk about it. But,
well, let's talk about that when we get there. I'll take it for now, right?
I mean, in your coverage, have you ever seen just a growth engine like this?
Yeah, I mean, not for a company that's at the kind of scale that they were at before it started. You see these kinds of growth numbers from smaller companies, right? But eventually, most companies hit the law of large numbers. It's just hard to grow, 1,000,000%, year over year forever, like when you're as big as this. But we are on the. I mean, we're not even on the cusp of it anymore. We are headlong into the AI gold rush at this point. And remember, these are. It's not like the stock is running ahead of itself. While it's up 1,000% or however much it is over the last year or two, like the valuation of Nvidia has actually gotten much lower. Like as much as the stock has gone up, the numbers have gone up by far more, right? And this is not like some sort of phantom thing. People are just like betting on growth. The growth is here, like it's already here, and we're certainly seeing it in the numbers and in the stock price now.
Elon Musk is purchasing so many Nvidia GPUs to provide the massive computational power needed to train the complex neural networks that make up Grok 3, which is a chatbot being developed by xAI, an AI startup founded and owned by Musk. The chatbot is similar to tools like ChatGPT, Bard, and Microsoft's Copilot, with the biggest things setting it apart being its sarcastic tone and wittiness. And according to Musk, unlike other chatbots, Grok will respond to more controversial questions that others simply refuse to answer. The H100 GPUs are essential for the training of large language models and AI systems like Grok 3. And what makes this even more special is that no other AI system has been trained using this many H100 GPUs before. To put this in perspective, OpenAI's GPT-3 model was trained using only 30,000 GPUs. So, Grok 3 would have over 3 times more computational power dedicated to its training. But as impressive as this supercomputer sounds, there are a lot of challenges that come with a project of this size. For example, it would surely need so much power, as each chip would consume around 700 watts of power when fully utilized. With 100,000 GPUs in operation, the total power consumption is expected to reach 70 megawatts, equivalent to the power usage of a small city. Supplying this much power is no trivial matter. The facility in which the computer will be built will likely need its own substation and enough juice to run a mall, university, or data center. While Musk excels at delivering the improbable, this adds an extra layer of complexity to bringing his NVIDIA-powered AI ambitions online by 2025. But a large supply of power isn't the only thing this project will be needing. There may be supply chain and infrastructure challenges. We all know how high the demand for NVIDIA's H100 chips is, and the fact that the supply chain for them remains tightly constrained, with limited production volumes restricting availability. Therefore, acquiring enough units will test even Musk's negotiating skills and industry clout. Some estimate it could take over a year simply to take delivery of that many H100s. But despite the challenges, this is still incredible news for NVIDIA investors, and Musk's large H100 order addresses some concerns that analysts and investors have had for months. So let's get into what this means for NVIDIA. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
The takeaway is that the Blackwell architecture that is coming will exceed the Hopper architecture that we've already seen drive these sales, and it will hit as soon as Q2, full ramp by Q4. That was stated on the call. That's when you saw the stock price reverse after hours.
Can you give us some just your initial calculations of just how it could contribute to earnings? I mean, data centers already make up about 85% of total revenues. Is that likely to continue? Could that ramp up much further?
Yes, so we're really very early to AI acceleration, and so Hopper drove that $90 billion that we see. We are foreseeing a $200 billion data center segment by the end of calendar year 2025, and the management team today insinuated and gave hints that that could happen, because what they said is that Blackwell will deploy with over 100 OEMs, which is 2 times broader and faster than Hopper, which deployed with 50 OEMs. So if you can imagine, you're hearing all these comments from management on the call, and it's clearly indicating that the Blackwell architecture, the second generation basically of these very high in demand generative AI GPUs, is going to be a step up from what has been deployed. So the translation here is that Hopper gave us 90 billion annual run rate. What will the Blackwell give us? And that's when you started to see this extremely bullish price action after hours. This is a stock that's run hard and fast, and now it's up, 5-6% after hours. People are getting excited to think about how the year will end now that this second release is coming out. And if I can, the other key point here is that NVIDIA is shortening its product cycle from 2 years to 1 year. They've never done this before. It's bold and it's very important to do right here, right now, because it allows them to continue to grow on top of this already phenomenal growth.
Notably, Nvidia is on the verge of launching its H200 and Blackwell-based B100 and B200 GPU models. These new GPUs are expected to show meaningful performance and efficiency gains over the H100. This has led some to question why Musk and xAI have committed to using the older H100 GPU rather than waiting for the latest technology. There are likely a few factors driving this decision. The H100 is a proven, reliable platform already supported by software tools and frameworks needed for AI development. This allows xAI to begin work rather than wait. The choice suggests xAI has specific technological and timing requirements that make the H100 the most pragmatic option. Rather than chasing incremental improvements, they are focused on scale and stability. This also addresses the overblown concerns from investors and analysts over how NVIDIA's growth would look until the release of Blackwell, and many expected slow growth, when that won't be the case as demand for the H100 is still high. In fact, just from the xAI order alone, NVIDIA would make an additional $3 billion in revenue as each chip costs around $30,000. Another advantage to NVIDIA is that xAI is going to use Blackwell chips too, as announced by the company when its Blackwell chips were first revealed. Additionally, Musk's other company, Tesla, will also receive its own fair share from the Blackwell GPUs. This detail sparks the imagination. In my opinion, the xAI usage of Blackwell chips will turbocharge Musk's Grok system as well as Tesla's FSD software. And who knows? Maybe we might see a collaboration between Tesla and xAI in the future, one that would bring Grok to all Tesla cars. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Right. Okay, so we're at 1,000 now. What's the price target, Beth?
Give me a year. Next year or 2030?
Give us both.
We have modeled 65% upside based on Blackwell by the end of 2025, calendar year 2025. By 2030, this company should be minimum 10 trillion in revenue, maybe higher. So we have a long runway with NVIDIA.
Right.
This is because we're in the AI economy now. So many people think this is going to end soon. It's not. This is the very, very beginning. Can't stress that enough. Multi-generational investment opportunity. Many Chinese companies are benefiting. Baidu, Tencent, great earnings reports coming from AI. NVIDIA is the AI infrastructure, but we're seeing a lot of beneficiaries, and I would encourage people to pay very close attention to that.
Yeah, Beth, just to clarify, you mentioned 10 trillion. You mentioned revenue. Do you mean market cap, or do you actually mean revenue?
I'm sorry, I meant market cap.
Despite the fact that Nvidia stock managed to cross $1,000, many analysts still believe that Nvidia's valuation is still attractive for long-term investors. Nvidia is strategically positioned to ride AI's accelerating growth, and Nvidia's latest incredible earnings beat affirms its role as the engine powering AI's rapid proliferation. It costs Nvidia around $3,320 to manufacture an H100 GPU, and with retail prices averaging between $25,000 and $30,000, this represents a profit of up to 1,000%. And let's not forget that Nvidia already sold 2 million H100 GPUs in 2024, so the company is looking at a profit of $60 billion on average, and we aren't even through half of the year. So we'll let you imagine how much Nvidia will make from Blackwell when it's released, and of course, this would impact the stock. Think about it like this. If the H100 caused the stock to soar over 160% last year, then Blackwell, being more powerful and more expensive, will cause the stock to soar even higher. So, we think that investors shouldn't wait any longer to buy Nvidia shares, and for those scanning the horizon for compelling opportunities, analysts shine a spotlight squarely on Nvidia. But what do you think about Nvidia stock? Is it a buy at the current price? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to tell us what your valuation for Nvidia is. If you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.